Hi friends, this is Mike Winters with Powerlife. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about foundations, and this is my bass guitar, one of them. I got a couple of them, and it's a viola by Epiphone. Looks like the Beatle bass or violin shaped bass. I had one of the actual Hofners about X number of years ago. We'll be back in just a minute and we'll talk to you more about it and what it means for everyday life and Powerlife.
This is Power Life with pastor and evangelist Mike Winters, bringing you the message of God's love, peace, and power in God's anointed word and music to encourage your heart. Now take the next few moments with us and find in Jesus the Power Life.
Bass guitar. It's something I played in some of the bands I traveled with, and one of the Christian groups that I was in that did a lot of the songs that I wrote. Well, I don't have it plugged into an amplifier, but I think the mic's picking it up a little bit. So, I mean, I've got some pretty big amplifiers making a lot of noise. But this is a bass guitar, Epiphone, viola. I love it. I've got another one too that's more of a cheaper generic bass, but I enjoy playing it too. When I was a young man traveling around in bands, I would play the bass guitar mostly. And that's probably because when I was 14 years old, I got in my first rock band. A friend of mine, Keith PAYNE, who likes to watch some of these videos, good guy, friend of ours for years now. And I was in my first band with him when I was 14 years old. And they had a guitar player, they had a drummer, they had Keith played the organ and the keyboards and all that. And so what were they missing? They were missing a bass player. So I thought, well, they got everything but a bass player. I guess I'll try to play bass. So that's why I ended up with that. I started out on a 6-string guitar playing the bass on the bottom strings because that's what I had. And I finally went out to the music store and got me a cheap real bass guitar with the 4 strings. Nowadays they make them with 5 and 6 strings, but it's to get those down tones down there at the bottom. You need a good foundation that kind of fills up and rounds up the sound. It gives a sort of a foundational feeling to the music that you play. And it was something that I had to learn how to do that. And I remember, friends, when I first started playing the bass guitar, it was like things that right now could be so easy I could do them in my sleep. They were hard because my fingers weren't used to learning how to go up and down the fret, and pick up my right hand. I'm right-handed, so I pick with the right hand and I fret with my left hand. And fret means also to worry. Well, I'm not going to worry with my left hand. But anyway, so I play the frets and the songs, to play the notes and everything. I hit the notes on the fret with my left hand and I pick them with my fingers. Some bass players like to use a pick. I never really got used to that, but you can do it. McCartney, different ones, they go back and forth between finger picking and using an actual plastic pick. But it's a matter of if you got music in your soul. And I remember when I was just a young guy, I also got in the band with a friend named John Locke that I knew from Ben Davis High School. I was in a lot of bands. We had little bands that come and go. He'd be in some little rock band, and half of the people in the band had just started playing their instrument and didn't really know what they were doing. But there was a time back in my high school days, and before that, the junior high and high school days, when everybody and his brother wanted to be the Beatles or wanted to be some kind of a rock star, and some music stores were popping everywhere, nightclubs and bars where you could go play your music were everywhere. That's a whole different scene now. It's changed quite a bit, but that's all right. What it did is it helped me to get out there, and I learned some difficult songs. We got in some bands with Brother John Locke. Now, he got saved before I did, but at the time we were neither one of us serving God, but we were out there traveling on the road playing music, and he played a keyboard excellently, and he also learned how to play the trumpet. Trumpet was his main instrument because he played that in the high school bands and all that. Really good at that. But we played some pretty difficult stuff. I mean, Chicago and sometimes those bass parts and the brass parts and all the stuff. We had trumpet, trombone, and saxophone. And that's what we had playing full time. Plus those guys could do background vocals. They were good at that. Then John, who is our keyboard player, as I said, he played trumpet. And then we had a lead singer named Bruce, and he also played trumpet. So occasionally we'd have a song where bass, guitar, drums, and 5 pieces of brass playing. And it was just really beautiful, I thought. And so we played and got booked all over the country. It was quite a life. My mama was home praying for me because she knew that my father, that I didn't know that well, didn't know that much, had been an alcoholic. And so she was concerned that I was going to be that in that environment, but it never really took hold of me quite that way. I won't say I didn't do some drinking and such. I did, but for some reason it just never grabbed hold of me and addicted me to it. So, we can take it or leave it. But it was a life learning experience. And we traveled across the country. I was in 2 different bands with this one agent up in Wisconsin. And he'd sent us from Montana to Texas to New York State down to Florida and a whole lot of the states that were in between there. And so we got to go out and experience a lot of crazy stuff. I was also in some local bands where we just knew like Larry Knighty and Jim Albrecht and people like that, where we just played in bars and nightclubs around Kentucky, Indiana, and this whole area right around here. And so we had that kind of an experience. But, I never would say I was a big star or anything, but I made some pretty good money at it and had a lot of life experiences out there on the road and learned a lot of things and had experienced some things I shouldn't have experienced, but God helped me to survive it, and we came through it. And now we're, a few years later, God got a hold of my heart to pursue Him about the call of God on my life, and we preached the Bible to a lot of folks and ministered and pastored a few churches and done radio in about 6 or 7 states across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 states across America that we've been on radio, and that kind of a thing. And then we did some TV in Indianapolis, and also here in Bloomington for a while. It's called cable access television. You don't have to pay a lot to be on it, and you don't get a lot of advertising, but people somehow find you. And there in Indianapolis, we had a good program. We were pastoring at that time in what is now called Grace House, Grace Assembly God now, Grace House, where Brother Wayne is the pastor. Good man, good folks, booming church, much bigger than when we were there. But that was the church that we were pastoring when we went on TV in Indianapolis. And we had our local crew, a bunch of us in the church went down there and learned how to do the character generator, put the words on the screen, or somebody was a camera operator, or a couple of them. And then we had somebody who was the switcher, who would move things around, and somebody that would work the sound and make sure that was all set up right. Then we'd have guests on the program, and I had Karen Ferris, who was in one of the bands I was in, a Christian band called CTC, Amen. It was CTC, anyhow, was the name of the group. I'm trying to remember the full name. That was an abbreviation. But so we did that, and she would come on there and sing some specials. She and her husband Doug now are living down south, and got kids and grandkids and all that. That's been a while back. But we had some big experiences and came through a lot of things, learned a lot of things. Now, I believe that the musical talent that I've got, and I think I'm talented. I'm not the greatest, but I'm talented to a certain point. The musical talent I've got is a gift from God. Anything you've got is a gift from God. If you're a great car mechanic and you just really have a knack for really knowing how to take things apart and fix them, that's a gift from God. If you're a great cook and you know how to put together wonderful meals and maybe have several families over and you put on a feast for them because you just love to cook and you're really good at it, that's a gift from God. Or if you're somebody that's a painter, or somebody who's great at office skills, and you have excellent skills at office management, you're not just somebody that tries, but you're really good at it and you apply yourself, that's a gift from God. I have one son that's a plumber, owns a plumbing company, and all the skills there, not only to do the plumbing work, but to run a company like that, that's a gift from God. Another son who's into accounting, things like that, and he's got his own business, that's a gift from God to have that skill and that ability. But it's just like any gift you get, any ability you have, you are responsible to work on it, to try to improve, to become excellent in that skill. And so when I'm playing the bass a minute ago, I wish I had an amplifier in here and you'd hear it a little better, but I was really good. I was a great bass player. I could get all over that thing and play just anything that was on the radio, and sometimes pretty intricate stuff. And other groups like that got pretty fancy with bass parts. I did that, but I've been a songwriter since I was a teenager. But even though I was really good at that, I'm not as good now as I was then, because I was playing 4 and 5 hours a night back then. So you play an instrument 4 or 5 hours a night, you're going to be pretty good. But here's the deal. Anything that God gives you as an ability, as an interest, as a skill, as a dream, a goal, an ambition, if it's not an evil thing, if it's not criminal, or if it's not going to hurt people or take advantage of folks or do some things in it by illicit means, if it's a good, honorable method of making a living, working and all that, then that's a gift from God. But the thing is, do your best with it. Make the most of it. We got people who are politicians. They should go and serve with all their heart and do the best they can. We've got people who are lawyers and doctors and surgeons and just people that have all kinds of skills. The thing you got to do, though, is take that gift that you've been given from God and make the most of it. In our church that we're at right now, I've been mostly playing the guitar. And now we're using some other means. But I mostly played the guitar, but there were times when we had everybody else there, so I could just play the bass. Tune that thing up. So, but I also play keyboard a little bit. I'm not great at it, but I play keyboard. I can play some chords, get around on it a little bit. And I use it mostly as a way to write songs, because I'm a poet at heart. And so add the music to the poetry, you got a song. So I'm just urging you, friends, to find out what kind of gift you have, what kind of talent you have. Something that's legit, something that you can make a good, honest living at it. But just do it with all your heart, be excellent with it, and surrender it to God and give God the praise for your success. And use your gifting, your talents, your abilities to be a blessing to people. So there's the bass guitar a little bit. I could do more than that, but I just wanted you to hear that and let you know that I'm a musician because there's a song in my heart. We got a daughter named Amy. She's great at songwriting. She's got a song in her heart all the time. When she was a little girl, she'd sing so much that the boys would say, "You have to sing all the time." But it was just her gift, and it was in her heart. And I love her. She's so beautiful, has a great voice, and writes good stuff. But whatever your gift is, and that's another thing. I'll make one more point from that before we get ready to go here. If you got something as a gift, a dream, don't let the dream thieves come in and kill your dream. Make sure it's an honorable thing and not just a selfish thing you're trying to go after. And make sure that it's something that you could use for the benefit of others and to glorify God and to express the creative passion of your own soul and heart. Do that. And when you do that, God will help you with it. It'll be a great thing. You'll be a blessing to a lot of people. So. Well, God is good. There's so many things that you can learn how to live a happy, victorious life. And friends, I just want you to know, this is Mike Winters. You are loved. And I'm going to tell you, you can find out how, and you can really live the power life. Overcome.